Welcome back to Real Repairs for Real Customers, only there aren't any repairs this time. That's because we're back to work in the music business. Now, there are several viewers of the channel who are also guitarists, and since the performing musician has been out of business for more than a year now, getting back to work is newsworthy. So I wanted to take the occasion to share this with you guys. You know, Mike I knew for quite some time as a technician in the business, but didn't realize he was a guitar player. Now, on the other hand, Wayne that I knew as a guitar player, I didn't know he was a technician in the business. So the channel has been good for us to get together. So anyway, we're back to a new venue, and this is in the entertainment district. It's quite a nice upscale dining experience is where my music is set for. Tim, can you say hello?
Hi there. How are you?
Tim's the main man here tonight.
Well, almost. I'm kind of like down the ladder here.
So this is Tim Brown, and just to give you an idea of what he does, if you were going to start up a restaurant with a certain theme, you could hire Tim to set the decor for the restaurant. He can pull the permits, he can get the subcontractors involved, or he can do the work himself even. He can organize and train all of your staff, the front of house crew, even into the kitchen. He could help you with the food presentation. He's not a certified sommelier, but if you saw him in action, you would think that he was. He is that good. And this is his night to shine. I've been working with Tim for over 20 years, so when it came time for the grand opening, I got the call. Everyone, of course, is a little bit nervous tonight, and so there are some meetings to make sure everybody is up on what's expected. I've done a sound check. I brought my Paul McGill guitar for this evening. I'm playing with the Lexicon MX300 rack mount in an effects loop on the Fishman amp, which is the SA220 line array. And along with a tablet for some backing tracks, that's all I need. So hiding here behind the piano, I've got my lobster roll and dipping sauce. So are you ready for this? This is opening night after more than a year of any gigs at all. So this evening we're going to be playing through the dust and the rust and the cobwebs and the barnacles. You know, barnacles, named after that famous Greek seafarer Barnacles. Anyway, it's a solo night, so there's nobody to hide behind. It's all me, and we're going to push through the evening. This is the opening night after a long time closed down. Well, I can't play much of this tune because we'll have copyright issues, but I'll play you one of mine in just a little bit. So my main theme here, as you can tell, is smooth jazz. And the reason for that is that it's strong on melody, and people like to hear melody. When people first come into the restaurant, of course, they're hungry, they're thirsty, so they want a drink. They've come in with somebody, they want conversation. Then they got to get something to eat. So all the while, they're just getting settled in. And so when I'm playing, I'm just wallpaper. And I can't really grab their attention too much. Initially, they're not ready for that yet. So I have to warm up to them. So people see after a while I'm playing mostly finger style. And so therefore they'll think that perhaps I'm a classical guitar player. And not a classical player, but nonetheless you have to have some classical tunes. Canon in D is one that I play, and that's always a favorite. You'd be surprised how many wedding receptions I've gotten because I've played Canon in D at the restaurant. Romanza or Spanish Romance is a favorite. I've got a lot of requests for that at the restaurant, and if you can pull that one out, it's worth a $20 tip every time, so that's nice. But then if you play classical, then they're going to think that maybe you play flamenco. Well, you don't have to be a flamenco player. Just play something that sounds like flamenco, and you've satisfied the customer. I've got a medley of tunes. You know what a medley is? If you only know half of a song, right? You can put it together with another half. So you got two songs that you don't really know all the way through, but you can put them together and have a song. Well, I've got here 6 songs that I don't know. I put them together as a medley. We have the theme from The Mask of Zorro, the movie. Malagueña, so there's a little bit of flamenco style that they're looking for. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you've satisfied the customer. I throw in Fur-Elise, which is, of course, classical. Then Classical Gas, with a little blurb of Stairway to Heaven in there. And then close out with Barcelona Nights with a flurry. So that always gets applause, too. So you have to have these tunes that satisfy the requests of your customers. Also, you want some jazz standards, some classics. Misty is always a good one. Laura is good. Girl from Ipanema is a winner every single time. So you've hit the people that want the traditional, or I should say the classic jazz right there. So you also have to have something R&B, like I Believe in You and Me by the Four Tops. Of course, Whitney Houston. It's a recognizable melody. Everybody likes that one. Pick songs that are strong on melody. People will be busy talking and eating, but you'll hear them humming along or singing along with a melody, something very familiar to them. They feel really comfortable with a melody that they know already. And then also something with a beat. They like to tap their toes. You'll get their attention gradually. You warm them up to you if you play something with a beat that they can tap their foot to. Some songs that I had that were strong on melodies were by, say, Norah Jones, the Beatles, Billy Joel, the theme from Love Story, song by Savage Garden, things that people readily recognize. I got to tell you a story about the one table. By the way, I try to see what's impacting these tables. What kind of music are they liking? I'm profiling these tables. And this one table, I saw they were clapping after a certain song, so I picked another song in the same genre, played that, they clapped on that one too. I said, okay, so now I know what they like. So then I played the song Dance With Me. And when I finished that, the lady turned and said, "You played our song." So that's what I try to do. I try to target each table and see what they're liking, get the response, and play something just for them. That's very enjoyable. And that puts tips in the tip jar too. I had just learned a song from a Secret Garden. And I thought, this song is going to become people's favorite pretty soon, you know. Well, as it turns out, that's the favorite song for the owner of the restaurant. Who could figure, right? That was pretty neat. Also, at the end of the second night, the dance instructor stayed on for a little bit and the place cleared out. The owner likes to dance the waltz. So the dance instructor came to me and he said, "Rick, can you play us a waltz?" Wow, that evening would not have ended well if I didn't know a waltz. But I have 2 waltzes, and I played for them an instrumental of the Tennessee Waltz, and everything worked out well. So that's the basis for my repertoire. is to try to play something for everybody so that no matter who comes in, they feel like we've given them the best that could be had. Really, they get top tier treatment, top shelf treatment from the service, from the moment they get in the door. They get welcomed and taken to their seat. They get the best service. They get the best food, the best music, especially for them. So my goal is to help the customer to feel that for tonight, there is no place on earth that they would rather be. And the response from folks was really good too, because there were many musicians, local musicians, some with the Philharmonic Orchestra, that were there in attendance. So some very accomplished musicians, I would say. But they always wanted to come over and see the Paul McGill guitar. They remarked about the tone of that guitar, which is why I bought it, of course. And it's a very unique experience for people to actually get to see one of these and put their hands on one and to hear it live. So also the Gibson ES-175 has always got comments about the tone on that one. Of course, that's why we bought that one too. Actually, my wife bought both of those. Now, the owners of the restaurant asked me to stay on, to quit my day job and work for them 4 nights. Of course, that's not going to happen. But I did agree to a couple of nights a week until they could get things going. One of the couples in there said they had been to another restaurant, which was the only other live music venue in the whole city open at this time. And they said the piano was so loud that they had to leave. But as you could tell from my playing, that I'm not too loud. And one of the reasons for that is with the amp that I'm using, as a line array, the sound travels very nicely to the other end of the room. So if the amp is behind me and it's not too loud for me, it's not too loud for the table, but they can still hear the music all the way at the other end of the room. I can hear conversations going on each table. I can't hear what they're saying, but I can hear that there's conversation. So I'm not interrupting people's conversations by my music being too loud. Yet the melody and all that comes over just fine. The important thing is to play for the people. I'll give you an experience. The Alibi Band was my band back in the day, and we played one club as a house band every other weekend, and every other weekend out of town at another club. Well, the reason that we were so busy is that we packed the dance floor. So we played what the people wanted to hear. We played what the people wanted to dance to. I worked up a song, the band worked up a song that I wanted one time, and when we played it live, nobody danced. So that's out. So fill that slot with a song that people can dance to. So I went back to the same club 30 years later and listened. This is just a couple of years ago. Listen to what was going on now. So the band plays and there's nobody dancing. When the band finally stops playing and the DJ comes on, he plays all the songs that the people want to dance to. The bands today are totally out of touch. They're playing what they want to play. They're dressing like slobs. The music isn't all that good. They think they're the world's next superstar, and it's not working. And they're certainly not appealing to the people. They're not giving the people what they want. So I have learned over the years, I'll give you some of my history, but I've learned over the years that it's not the musician that's important. You got to play the music that the people want. That's the whole secret of performance and the whole secret of songwriting too. So the evening is through, and here Tim and I are with Michelle, the owner. Now there is a mask mandate in effect for the entertainment district, so some of us are actually wearing them. This was a particularly emotional evening for Michelle because of two main reasons. COVID, of course, had everything shut down, and then we had the BLM riots and destruction. So she is hoping that tonight might signify a turnaround of circumstances. And of course, I wish her the very best, but it seems like the social unrest is just escalating. And we have heard from law enforcement and from other businesses that people are still afraid to go out. They would rather stay home and eat. You can see here that everyone is proud that they pulled off such a great performance tonight. And Michelle is very gracious in thanking each and every person that contributed. This shot is from the setup for the very next week, and I'm bringing the Gibson into play. I like to rotate my electric guitars so we have different tones for different evenings and kind of just mix it up a little bit. Also, this is right before opening, and we're shooting a television commercial, and so they've got me playing the electric on that. And they have also given me a small acting part. Well, before we conclude, I wanted to give you a brief musical history of my journey, and also let you hear a little bit of Angie Rayleigh's singing voice. I'll introduce you to her in a little bit, and then I'm going to end with a song that I played at the restaurant. So, here you go. It wasn't that music was taboo in our house, but since we had the farm, there were always farm chores to be done. So I would get up a half hour before morning farm chores and practice my 8-string straight steel before everybody else was stirring. Then when I left home, my dad got rid of the cattle, and the family then started up their own band. I was never a part of the family band, but here they are: Tim, Joshua, Mary, Jonathan, Jeff, and Mom. And here they are some years later for a reunion concert. Tim has been out of the country in a missionary work for decades, and he was always the most gifted one, I always felt. I started out on the straight steel, moved on up to a Showbud pedal steel, and then finally got the Cadillac of all steel guitars, an Emmons double neck, with all the bells and whistles. Now, the steel guitar is not just for country music. I use the foot switch for the overdrive on the amp, for the rock and roll slide guitar, say like on China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. And I could imitate a string section playing octaves through the Electro-Harmonics delay chorus unit. By the way, Wayne, it appears that we played all the same clubs along the coast that you did back in the day. So Alibi was Angie Rayleigh on vocals, Gene Stanfield on bass and vocals, coming from a more R&B background. Then Earl Dukes, early rock and roller. He had a couple of songs on the top 40 as a solo artist. So Earl and I put the band together back in 1980. And of course, I'm in the back there with the mustache on the left, playing pedal steel, lead guitar, and alto sax. Then is Frankie Varnado, and he has more of a country rock background, playing rhythm and lead guitar. Manning Westbury on drums, a hard rock and roll drummer that every time he hit the snare, your head split apart just a little further. Then Johnny Preacher on piano and tenor sax. And not shown is Rick Rohde, who did our lights and sound. Now, we were originally just 5 guys, and then we added Johnny Preacher on piano. Then I wanted to hire Angie, who was 14 years old at the time, and I had to pretty much fight with the band about hiring another person. But she had a wonderfully powerful voice. She was attractive, and the kids always steal the show. So she wanted to come on with us, and we talked to her mother, and her mother, of course, had to come along, and she was very happy to do so because the family situation didn't hold much promise at that point in time. My argument with the rest of the band is that we could double our money, and we sure did. In fact, we hired on Rick there for lights and sound, so now we were dividing up the money 8 ways, and still making more money. Of course, it's always special when you get to do concerts with some established names in the business. This concert was kind of neat because it was billed as Riley and Rayleigh. It's a good experience to work with other top artists, well-established artists, because then you can really see the difference, how that these entertainers are really on another level. Our stage setup was the same as Steve's, so that made a nice transition. Hopefully I can get away with sharing some samples of Angie Rayleigh's vocals, so here we go.
When you take my hand, you take
So for some of us repair technicians, music still calls, and we still need to find some outlet for that calling. And now you can understand why I do what I do and how I go about doing it. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to leave you with one song that I played at the restaurant, and this is the title song off my latest CD, Smooth and Easy.